During his adolescence, Dahmer develops a hobby that would raise eyebrows in the years that followed.
Were you obsessed with dead animals? Is that true?
I was interested in taxidermy in high school and experimented with preserving the bones of dogs and things like that. And whether that had anything to do with the escalation of the crimes, I don't know.
He went into further detail in this interview with a forensic psychologist.
This beagle that got hit. Wanted to see what the insides looked like, so just cut it open. It was already dead. And wanted to do, I guess, something shocking with it. So I took it and stuck it up on a pole in the neighbor's wooded area.
There are numbers of young people who might have those same kinds of interests and don't end up being serial killers. So in retrospect, had I spoken with him as a teenager, I don't know that either he or I would have predicted at that point that he was going to end up being the serial killer he turned out to be.
Now, I lived with this young man. He lived in our home. He had his father's intelligence, and on the phone, you could not tell Jeff or Lionel apart. Jeff was always very gentle, very kind.
In high school, friends begin to notice Jeffrey is becoming a different person.
Jeff's behavior began to be so strange that I felt very uncomfortable being with him alone. He liked to act, in his words, crazy. He would just start shrieking, or he would twist himself up in a grotesque way and run with a limp, almost like Quasimodo. And I remember one time asking him why he behaved this way. And he said, "I just like to shake people up."
I remember when we had our senior pictures taken, he got into a lot of the group photos that he was not a member. The National Honor Society group, whoever was in charge of that in those days, they blacked out his face, and it's really creepy.
I had a classmate who said, years ago, we thought that photo was hilarious, and it's not so funny anymore.
His brazen behavior continues in the classroom.
He was drinking beer. Sometimes he kept in his locker, and I guess he kept beer in his car. Did teachers do anything about it? Did they know about it? I'm sure some teachers knew about it.
I remember distinctly one morning sitting in class next to Jeff, who had his cup of scotch, and I said, "Jeff, what is that?" He just tossed his head back as though it was no issue at all, and he said, "It's my medicine." There was a collective sense of blinders going up that people didn't notice because they didn't want to notice.
According to Dahmer, alcohol was a way to drown his growing dark desires.
I started having these obsessive thoughts when I was about 15 and 16, and they got worse and worse.
What were your fantasies about?
They were sexual fantasies of control, power, complete dominance. They became reality.
Was there pleasure in that fantasy?
There was excitement, fear, pleasure, all mixed together.